So here we go, guys. I suppose that we got some good news because now they talking about round 2 has been passed through the House or through the Senate and all that other nonsense and jargon. We waiting for the president to sign off on it. And we, the little guy, this time for real is supposed to get a bailout. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan Moore. I'm a photographer, filmmaker, and a creative entrepreneur. And I like to make videos like this for other photographers, filmmakers, and creative entrepreneurs out there who are trying to build a life on their terms and get it how they live. So if that sounds like something that you're into, feel free to check out some of the other videos that I have on this channel where I talk about photography, filmmaking, and what it's like to be a full-time freelancer. So for this video, I am doing an update to the PPP, the EIDL process. Now, if you've been following this, you already know the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL, the injury. You know what? I ain't even gonna get into it. You already know what I'm talking about if you're watching this video. So here we go, guys. I suppose that we got some good news because now they talking about round 2 has been passed through the House or through the Senate and all that other nonsense and jargon. We waiting for the president to sign off on it. And we, the little guy, this time for real is supposed to get a bailout. Now, if you didn't have your paperwork ready the first time, then you want to try to have it ready this time. Or hopefully you were already in line and you might have just got screwed like the rest of us, all right? We were supposed to get a bailout for the little guys, the freelancers, the creative entrepreneurs, the Uber and the Lyft drivers, you know what I'm saying? The whole gig economy. We were supposed to get a bailout and we ain't get not a nothing. We just got played. But now here it is round 2, and apparently from all the drama that happened in round 1, they talking about something they gonna give certain allocated funds to some of the smaller community banks because they believe that that's gonna help some of the smaller businesses, right? Because in first round, what happened is some of those big banks, they was taking all, they gave out the money to the big boys, the little people ain't getting nothing. They put all types of hurdles and loops and obstacles in the way so that you couldn't even submit an application. It was just chaos. But now for round 2, we're gonna see if they do things a little bit better. So I'm not sure. Like I said, on the first video that I created, I had already submitted my paperwork. I ain't really hear too much back. I submitted my streamlined application through the EIDL. I ain't hearing nothing back. Where the grant money at? I'm hearing about people getting their grant money. Some people was getting a loan offer. Some people weren't. Whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, like, bro, where the dough at? So we're going to see on this second round. Now, do me a quick favor. If you already applied for any of these programs and you maybe haven't heard anything back, you have heard something back, what's the progress? What's the status? Let me know because I'm genuinely interested. I mean, I'm looking around on YouTube and I'm watching other YouTubers and they like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? I got my money, bro. You know what I mean? I'm looking down in the comments, people talking about they did, some people talking about they didn't. And I'm just like, I don't know what to think right now. Other than, you know what, the government, they tried to give it a good try, but you know what, sometimes it just don't be working out. But I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I am trying to keep this whole thing optimistic. I am trying to be optimistic and believe. I'm trying to believe that something is going to happen for the people like you and me, the solo entrepreneurs out there who are really doing this thing full time. I'm making a full-time living off of this bad boy. This how I feed my family. This how I eat. This how I keep my lights on, how I pay my bills. And you kind of get tired every once in a while of seeing all these big companies get bailed out who ain't doing the right thing. You over here, you trying to do the right thing, and it's just like you just getting played. So I don't know, man. I'm saying, like, they got the round 2 coming. Hopefully this works out. Now, one of the things I do want to touch on with this whole round 2, in the first video that I made, I had a couple of comments where people asked me, how do you determine the loan forgiveness for the PPP program? So I'm just going to touch on that briefly. So when it comes to the PPP, you do have the potential to have 100% of the loan forgiven. Now, that is going to fall into a certain category. It's going to be on payroll expenses. It's also going to be on qualified expenses such as mortgage interest, rent payments, or other interest on debt that you've incurred in your business. Now, when it comes to the solopreneur, they're probably going to be like, yo, how are we going to get our stuff forgiven? Like, how do we prove our payroll and all this other stuff, right? And there's been questions circulating about that. People were talking about writing a check to themselves, whatever the case may be, this, that, and the third. Well, I just did some research and it turns out that the SBA put out some brand new guidelines. So for the solopreneur, the sole proprietor, the 1099 contract worker, okay, what you're gonna do, the way that you determine your PPP loan amount is it's going off of your net income. So your net is basically your gross minus your expenses, which gives you your net. Now, one of the other guidelines that they put out for the solopreneur, the independent contractor, to be able to receive these funds is that you have to submit a Schedule C, which is the tax file that you form anyway if you are a sole proprietor or independent contractor, self-employed. It's all basically the same. Now, they came up with this calculation to determine the amount of forgiveness that you'll be able to receive for your loan. So basically, this is the way it goes, okay? So essentially, you're gonna take the net earnings that you have, okay? And you're gonna divide that by 52, all right? Maybe I'll try to put a graphic down here so you can see it. So net earnings divided by 52, which is gonna give you your weekly salary. Okay, so you're gonna take that weekly amount, you're gonna multiply that by 8, and that's going to give you the amount of the loan that's automatically forgiven. That's automatically forgiven. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to open up a separate bank account. You don't have to write yourself these checks. It's just automatic, boom, right off the top. That is what is going to be forgiven. Now, in most cases, this is not going to equal up to the 75%, which they say in the bill, and 75% of it is forgiven on the payroll expenses or whatever, yada, yada, yada. But it's going to come pretty close. Now, as far as mortgage, rent, other interests on debts and whatever the case may be, you're probably going to have to talk to your bank person, your lender about that. I'm not 100% sure. If it's a home-based business, I know you can't, use that as the mortgage. That remaining amount is what you're going to have to pay back. And the payback period is going to be probably about 18 months because you get 6 months deferred payment. It's a 2-year loan at a 1% interest rate. So you're going to have 18 months, 1% interest rate on that remaining portion of the loan if you don't have those other qualified expenses to spend it on. So it's not the worst deal. It's not the best deal, but you know what? 8 weeks, 2 months, that can give you some time to kind of get it all figured out. So once again, guys, that's the way that those calculations are going to work. That's how you can be able to determine your forgiveness. All right. If you haven't filed your schedule or your 2019 tax returns, it is okay. When I was talking to my lender, I had to give them a Schedule C, but they said it was all right, that it wasn't the finalized version because I didn't file just yet because of the tax extensions. I'm going to be taking advantage of that, that we have put in place for 2020. So hopefully that helps, guys. If so, drop me a like, drop me a comment. Let me know what's going on with you. Did you apply for this program? Did you receive any type of funds? Do you know anybody who received any type of funds from any of the programs, from the EIDL, from the PPP? I haven't received anything yet. I'm staying optimistic, cautiously optimistic, because it is the government, it's the government. So hopefully for round 2, we get it right. It's still probably not going to be enough money. It's still probably going to be a lot of people getting left behind. I could still see banks doing some shady practices, even though they probably want to get it right this time around. But, I wouldn't put nothing past them, because even if they do wrong, they still get treated right. It's just like these big businesses. They do wrong and they get treated right. But we just out here twisting in the wind. So that's it for me today, guys. For all my people out there who are trying to build a life on their terms, get it how they live, and get some of this money out here, because we want bailouts too. This is your man, Jonathan Moore, and I'm signing out. Peace.